I think the biggest challenge for China really is to manage its economic transition in a smooth manner. The growth rates China had for the last several years of 10% plus was obviously not sustainable, but a soft landing is what's important, which means China will have to see if its consumption patterns can change and the rebalancing of the economies can take place. And in that context, China will also have to see what sort of a regional leadership role it can play within the context of G20. China is a very different country now than it was even 10 years back, and it is playing a global role. And our chairmanship of G20 brings along certain responsibilities, particularly in a regional context, in economic context, in the context of the security of the region. So all of those will come into play. For G20, I think the biggest challenge is how to stay relevant. The G20 is a collection of countries put together reasonably arbitrarily. And there is talk, as we discussed at various points, how do countries which are not in G20 represented? How are their interests reflected? And G20's challenge is continuously going to be how to make sure it speaks for a constituency broader than just the 20 countries that's in G20. I think that's the right way to go. The rebalancing won't be easy because China's growth has really been predicated on exports and large investments. But ultimately, the Chinese growth has to be much more domestic driven, and that's what they're trying to do. As I said, it's not going to be easy for two reasons. One is the population itself will start to age, and that demographics will have to be reflected. The other one is that there are regional disparities within China. And to get domestic consumption up, they'll have to make sure that the benefits of economic growth are also spread more equitably within the country. But I am quite optimistic that China will be able to make its transition, because on the aging issue, as we know, China has now adopted or changed its one-child policy, which is a very important one. On the rebalancing internally, they are, I know, softening their hukou system, the so-called resident permit system, which sort of restricts people moving from the rural to the urban areas or moving within the country. So those are fairly fundamental policy choices China is making, I think, in a rather wise manner. But the challenges are huge, but I think China will manage this transition and be able to maintain some sustainable growth with greater domestic consumption.